If you've ever wanted to get into carp fishing but been completely overwhelmed with all the bait, the tackle, the gear that's all involved, you're not alone. The good news is you really don't have to have anything complicated to get started. In this session, I'll give you a rundown on all the tackle and the bait that's needed to get you on the bank and catch fish. If you're after a quick fix of fishing, this video should point you in the right direction to get you started. Let's be honest, carp fishing can feel quite confusing at first. You walk into a tackle shop and you're faced with rows of hooks, line, tackle, leads, feeders. Everything we're using today is nice and simple and straight off the shelf. You've got your essentials, 12-pound mainline, a few pre-tied rigs so there's no fiddly bits to do, method feeders, a slightly bigger landing net than what we normally use, and the bait today, which is some ground bait, a few micro pellets and some wafters as hook bait, and a little rod pod which your rods sit on. I just set the first rod up and I've cast it out, so that is fishing now. So I'm going to set the second rod up and run you through exactly how I do it. So first of all, I thread the line through the top of the method feeder, so it goes all the way through and out the bottom, just like that. And then I get the little method connector that comes with the feeder. It's a really handy little connector because you can clip your hook clamps on and off really easy. So what I do is I thread it through one end and then tie a half blood knot, and that is basically you wrap the tag end back round the main line 6 times and then pop the tag end back through the loop that you've just created, and then dampen the knot, just because if you don't dampen the knot, the friction of the line can burn the line, and you don't want that because it won't be as strong. And then bed it down, gently tighten the knot down, and then you're left with a tag end, which you're just going to snip the tag end off, just like that, and then put any excess line into a bag, don't leave that around. And then the next part is opening up the actual method connector, so you pull that little sleeve all the way down, and then grab your chosen hook length, pop that off the plate. On those plates it's nice and easy because all the hook lengths are really straight, so they come off absolutely lovely with no kinks in the line. And then pop the loop straight over and into the groove, and then close that sleeve, which will just secure everything in place. And then pull the method feeder down, and it literally just plugs into the bottom of the feeder, which creates a slight bolt effect when the fish does pick up the feeder, but enough that if the fish does get snagged on anything, it can just pop out the end and the fish isn't trailing this method feeder around with them. So that's it, that is the method feeder setup. It's a really simple setup, but it's been trialed and tested for years and it hasn't let anyone down. So let's get some bait on it and cast it out and hope that a carp comes along and picks it up. The rod I'm using today is one of our red range carp rods. This is the ideal rod for if you're looking to come into the sport or want to give carp fishing a go. It's got enough power in the butt section and can land fish well into double figures. It's the sort of rod that can pretty much cover any situation. You can do floater fishing, you could do stalking, open water fishing, pretty much anything. When it comes to finding a venue, keep it nice and simple. You want to fish lakes that are full of fish and are easy to locate. Day tickets are perfect for this. You can turn up, pay on the day and start fishing. But don't forget your rod license. I'm using wafters as hook bait today, and I've got 2 colours with me, yellow and orange, as this really stands out wow over the top of the bait that we're feeding. So I've mixed up some ground bait and I've also got some 2mm pellets in it as well. So I'll just run you through how I load the method feeder. So first of all, I lay the hook bait into the rubber mould and then sprinkle some bait over the top so it's nice and full, and then place the method feeder over the top and then a nice firm squeeze, because you don't want the bait to be coming off when the when the feeder enters the water. So a nice firm squeeze, and then it should just pop out like that. When casting out, it's important to have a good length of line between the feeder and the rod tip. On this rod, it's 10 foot, so I'm going to have half the rod length of line between the method feeder and the rod tip. So I know that if I hold it up just like this, it's sat halfway down. So it just means that you can get a bit of momentum when you're casting, and it's a little bit more accurate as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a point on that far side that I'm going to aim to, and every time that I cast, it's going to be the same power. So hopefully it'll be in the same area each time. Far marker, and then just stop it before it hits the water, and just sink the line by just dipping the tip underneath, and then you can watch the line slowly sink away, and this will just create a nice straight contact between you and the feeder. And then you can slacken off the clutch and then pop the rod on the rest and wait for that bite. It's not quite what we was after. This isn't the target species, but to be honest, anything's welcome. And it's really nice that these rods are nice and soft on the tip, so they don't pull out of any smaller fish that you might encounter. Let's sit this one back, see if we can get a carp. I've been fishing in this swim for a couple of hours now, and with only one bream to show for it, I think it's time for a move. I better trust my gut instinct and pack up the gear and move a few pegs down and see if we can hook one. There's loads of complicated setups out there that can be quite confusing, and something that I try to steer away from. I've chosen to fish with the straightforward and ever faithful method feeder. A method feeder allows you to set a small trap at the bottom of the lake in hope of a carp coming up and hoovering up your bait, including your hook bait. Regular casting with a method feeder allows bait to constantly fall through the water, enticing more fish into that area that you fish in. Yep. Bye. Where possible, if you can unhook the fish in the net whilst it's in the water, this is a big bonus because it puts less pressure on the hook when you're transferring the fish from the water to the mat. Ooh. Well, that move was definitely worthwhile. Literally, the rods have been in 10 minutes and it screamed off. So that gut instinct definitely paid off. Take your time when you are playing fish, because this could potentially be the only bite that you have all day and you want to enjoy every moment of it. If you are thinking about giving carp fishing a go, keep it simple, get the basics right, and go out and give it a go. That's how you learn, and that's how we all started fishing.